Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing this new brushless GPS drone from Holy Stone. This is the HS360. And what's unique about this drone is it has a 2-axis stabilized gimbal on it, which is unique to Holy Stone as far as I know. I'm unaware of Holy Stone having a gimbal on any of their drones. They usually have either no stabilization or they have EIS, which stands for electronic image stabilization. Now, this drone does also advertise that it has EIS as well. But again, it has a 2-axis gimbal, which they mentioned right over here, and you can see it right here on the box, which is pretty plain. It doesn't have a, it's not, this is just a plain kind of cardboard box that they put this in, but this is brushless, it's GPS, and it has a 2-axis gimbal. That combination has promise, because so much of these drones from Amazon, they skimp somewhere. And lots of times they're just not worth the money. We can get like a DJI Mini or SE or a Mini 2 or even an original Mini like I got back here are always going to be better. Now, this drone's probably not going to be as good as those, but for the price, this one could be a pretty good deal because it looks like the gimbal reminds me of like, the SJRC F11, those type gimbals. And those gimbals are really good. So I'm hoping that this one is really good. We'll have to just see how it performs, how the gimbal is, how the camera is, because this could be a heck of a deal because I think this is around $250 at a time with some coupons, which they always give me coupons on these, which would make this a really competitive drone in the low end of cost or the low cost market because there's just not much on the lower end that can do aerial photography and video really well and stabilize under $300. So I'm excited to try this out, and I'm hoping that it will meet our expectations, but we won't know until we get out there and test it. So let's go ahead and move along to the flight review. So stay tuned for that, guys. I'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be able to take the Holy Stone HS360 out for a test flight today. This is a 2.5K video, 30 frames per second, 2-axis gimbal, brushless GPS drone. And I'm pretty excited because I think this could be a pretty darn good drone around that $200 price point. In fact, it could be maybe the best option out there at that price point, if it performs as I'm hoping it does, because that gimbal looks nice. It looks a lot like the SJRC F11 Pro gimbal, and I know from the DEERC version of that drone I flew that it had a really good gimbal. So I'm hoping that it does perform just like that one. So let's get it up in the air and let's see how this guy flies. I got a 32 gig micro SD card here. It'll take up to 128 gig. So we need to get it connected to the controller and the Wi-Fi, which is 5G to your phone and the app. And then we need to do a compass calibration and a gyro calibration. Now, the controller takes your phone down on the bottom. And with my phone and most phones having buttons on the side, this is causing some problems. So depending how you mount it, you may start getting buttons popping. I get volume control and wanting to turn off my phone. That's really annoying. So I got my phone a little off center, but it seems to be okay here at the moment. So the first thing let's do, let's power up the drone and then get connected to the Wi-Fi and the app. So you have this recessed power button you got to hold down here for a moment, and at that point the drone's turned on. Then you want to power up the controller by pressing this in, and I don't think you need to do anything with the stick. And it says we're connected here, and you can see it's already getting GPS satellites because I just had this turned on a moment ago. So that tells us we have at least 10 satellites and we have a GPS lock now. These antennas are a little goofy. This one goes back, but then this one wants to go forward, but that's okay. It just, you can't tilt them in this exact same direction. It only goes that far. So all right, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go start let's actually go in and connect to the Wi-Fi first, and then we'll start a screen recording on this guy. So let's go into our settings. Actually, let's start a screen recording, that way you guys can see me do that. So go ahead and start that, and now we should have a screen recording going. Now let's go into the settings, into the network and the internet, and it should come up here in a moment and show us that Holy Stone, and there it is, Holy Stone FPV with some numbers after it. Now I've done this before, so you may have to, the first time on Android, tell it you're okay, that you don't have any internet access. So now we're connected, and let's go into the app. And the app for this guy is the HS Fly. So I'll put that screenshot up here. And let's see, it will rotate good. And now we're going to go into the controls. And now we are into the app, and you can see we've got an FPV feed going. So before we do the compass calibration, you might need to do like a format of the card, which I've already done. Up here in the gear icon, if I can get my finger to tap it, you want to turn off beginner mode. You got track. It's gonna be difficult for me to tap these because of the way it sits up recessed in the controller. That's your like flight logs. You can go to image and do some adjustments there. 2K you're stuck with your video format. You can do tap image adjustment and do some adjusting the brightness and stuff. And these 3 dots gives you the ability to switch between meters per second, kilometers per hour, and miles per hour, which is imperial. And then you can turn on and off a few other things. So let's go ahead and go back out of that. Over here you've got your intelligent flight features, which we'll try to test some of that if we have enough battery power. So let's go ahead and do the compass calibration. That's going to be a long press on this button right here. And that should enter us in, and now it brings it up on the app, which is nice. So the first thing we're going to do is a horizontal, and hopefully it'll beep at us, or the lights will change. There we go. And now we'll go nose up. Usually doesn't matter. And that means we're done. These drones have gotten really good at these compass calibrations. Years ago, they used to be a real pain in the butt to do. And then a short press will do a gyro calibration. Let me make sure I stand back here enough. I want to reposition the drone. So we're going to fly off this way. It's very gloomy today and wet, so I can't fly in the backyard like normal because of mud. A short press should do a gyro calibration. It's not telling us anything, but I should be setting the drone for level. Another thing you can see inside the app here, if you press this little icon here, you can actually do a gimbal calibration, and you can adjust the roll and pitch or reset the factory settings for the gimbal. And you can also tilt it here, you see. That's pretty smooth. So if we need to do any adjustments in the future, we can do some manual adjustments, but I already did a gimbal calibration inside on my basement floor in the concrete, so it should be calibrated correctly. But again, it's possible there could be a bit of a tilt that you might need to manually adjust. All right, so what we're going to do now is just start recording some video to the SD card, and then we'll take it up in the air now and see how it flies. So a long press on the photo video button here in the back. We'll start recording video. Then you want to unlock the props, and then we can do an auto takeoff. So let's go ahead, and I think it's both sticks down and in, and then our auto takeoff's right here. Let's just see how it flies. Do we get any toilet bowling? It sort of looks like it might be doing that. So let's see. Yeah. What that means is we didn't get a good compass calibration. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just do let's just go ahead and land it. That can happen. We're into the grass here. That's going to be a problem because I didn't do obviously a return to home. So let's go ahead and do another compass calibration and maybe stand away. There could have been some metal or something here that was interfering with it. So let's go ahead and stop recording the video. There we go. Now it stopped. All right, let's go ahead and try that again. So that was a long press, and that enters us in. And let's just go stand over here and away and try it again and see if we get a better one. Did have one person comment on the unboxing. Let's go ahead and try. We'll try nose down. That theirs was all over the place, and so I hope that's not the case with this drone. It really looked like it was toilet bowling there, which would be very unfortunate. So I did post an unboxing of this. If you guys want to see everything that came with it, I didn't mention that yet, and you want to see, you know, the packaging and all the accessories, and check back to the previous video. Probably be the most recent video before this on my channel. So let's go ahead and start recording video again. Now we're recording, and let's go ahead and unlock the props, and let's try the auto takeoff again. Okay, that don't want to be premature. That seems much better. See how it's not doing the big circles? may hop a little bit, but some of that's just has to do with the ground and the barometer. That's much, much better. All right, let's just see how this guy flies. We are on the lowest rate. Let's see how that gimbal looks. Just doing, that's a pretty quick yaw. I'm gonna try to slow it down because I am in the lowest rate. Let's see, do we have a level horizon too? Again, the nice thing is even if we would have a bit of a tilt, if it would be a consistent tilt always to the same direction or something, we can manually adjust that. I mean, that looks pretty good. There might be a slight, but then again, we don't know how much of that could be natural tilt. So we'll have to see as we fly this guy. So that's the lowest rate. Now you can go up in the highest rate here and it'll show you on the controller as well when you press that. And that's gonna be sportier if I could spit it out. The yaw looks to be pretty quick no matter what, but you can also slow it down. It's proportional to how hard you press the yaw. But there is a little wind today, so I'm just going to put it in the highest rate to be safe. We'll just fly it out here over the field. Yeah, it looks pretty darn good to me. Again, at this price point, we're not expecting to get MAVIC Mini quality, considering it's about half the price. And let's just go ahead and take it out here again. Now I am at beginner mode and all that's turned off, and I'm still well within line of sight. I can see him right out there. Let's tilt the gimbal. Now it has a kind of a weird click wheel, but you can see it's pretty smooth. Let's just take it out here a little way. I'm going to tilt the gimbal up a little bit more. So we are out about, hopefully, and my switch is Imperial, so that should be 700 and some feet. Starting to get some intermittent freezing in the video. Being this is Wi-Fi based, that's not entirely unexpected. I can see a little tilt to the gimbal in the background, but it's not, there you can see it right there. And hopefully that'll level out. These gimbals, that's not completely unexpected as long as it quickly fixes itself. So I can still see a bit, and sometimes you move these, it'll adjust itself. Let's go ahead and do a return to home. I believe that was this button here. We can do it in the app if that's not it. I mean, that might have been the GPS, the GPS button on it. Let's go ahead and just do it here in the app. And slide it over, and now we'll do return to home. I got the instruction manual in my pocket, so I was trying to remember what the GPS return to home was on the controller, but you can do it in the app there. Just press that icon and then slide that little slider over. And I think I got it set to like 40, I think it was meters, 40 meters or something like that up for its return to home height. So right now we're seeing the neighbor playing basketball there. I'm gonna tilt the gimbal down. And it should be popping in right now. There I am outside of my house, and here is the drone. So we'll just watch it to make sure that we don't obviously try to come down on my roof or anything, but hopefully that won't be the case. Now I don't want to step too far back here. I'll be into the neighbor's yard and into some mud, but we'll see how it does. It looks to me like it's gonna, it overshot it a little bit, but that can be a bit of an illusion. Let me move over here. It's hard to gauge that when you're looking straight up. Here it comes down. The controller beep is a bit annoying, but a lot of these drones do that so that they, you know you're in GPS return mode. I'm gonna put the gimbal. It goes down about 80 degrees, so you can see it doesn't go straight all the way 90 degrees down. It only goes 80. So it's gonna be off a little bit, but again, without any kind of precision landing. I'm gonna put the camera back up. That's not too bad. I mean, that's sort of within the acceptable range on these. If you're expecting the drone to come back and land on your launch pad every time on this particular drone, then that's unrealistic. Now, it may do it sometimes, but you need a drone that's got some sort of precision landing where it's got either a downward facing camera or it tells you to point your gimbal straight down, and it recognizes, like the FIMIs may recognize the circular helipad, and then it tries to find it as you look down. Other drones like the DJIs and Autels use their downward facing optical camera, like the optical flow camera, to spot, to recognize the patterns, and it recognizes where it took off, and it's able to analyze that and use that for accuracy. So just keep that in mind. So we're still recording video. Let's just go ahead and take it up now and try to test out some more. I'm just going to manually take off. So this drone does not have optical flow, but you know, that doesn't usually do a whole lot on these drones. The higher end drones, maybe that assists the GPS, but on these lower cost drones, they tend to only work on optical flow when the GPS is either turned off, or it would happen to, for some reason, lose its GPS lock. So overall, the gimbal's pretty good, though. Like I said, I do think I see a bit of tilt, but keep in mind that if that tilt is consistent, I can adjust that manually. Back here again, if you happen to skip to the video, you can adjust it there, but it looks like that needs to be done while it's on the ground. You can't do it in mid-flight. So, and that doesn't see it now. It looks like, let's look back this way and see. See, that looks pretty good now. So be careful with that adjusting. If it's something that the gimbal fixes on its own, then keep that in mind, because if you adjust it permanently and it doesn't always do that, you're just going to end up with a permanent tilt to whatever degree you adjusted it. But it seems to work pretty darn good. I don't recall having any tilt in the DEERC DE22. And this one I do see it at times, but I didn't notice any severe tilt like you even sometimes get on the FIMIs. All right, let's see if we can do just a little bit of other testing here. I'm gonna bring it down. I don't know how much battery we have. It shows 3 out of 4 bars still on the controller. I was trying to look on the app. So let's see here if we can do, I don't have a whole lot of room, and I got a lot of people around, and I don't want to get in anybody's way. Whoa. It is a little bit skittish at times. You guys notice that there? I almost thought I was going to hit the house, but it didn't do it. So just test it here a little bit more and see if how it does. Yeah, it's just a little bit like it drifts for a moment until it finds its position. So it's not like the most rock steady drone, but we're not getting any toilet bowling. And maybe, again, I forget who that was who mentioned that on my channel. Gosh, was it Tampa Drone Live? I can't remember. That said that they had this issue a little bit, and maybe this is what they're talking about. If you fly DJI drones or something, then you're going to be, you're gonna not be used to that because they're so rock steady. But then again, even your cheapest DJI drone still probably $100 more than this. All right, let's just see if we can do, I want to do a manual Dronie, but first let's just try to do one of the smart features. Let's go, I'm not going to mess with that image tracking because I've seen it in other apps. You got to stay really close, and it sort of just yawls and follows you. It's sort of not really very good. All right, this is the GPS tracking. Let's see if it works here. I may be a little bit too close. Will it back up? It's going to follow the GPS in my phone. So it is, yeah, it's yawing. And then as I get a little ways, it should start to move. So right now it's working exactly as you want. Make sure no cars are coming. Again, I can't really do this what I normally do because of the mud. So let's see, does it move with me? And it looks like it is. It's doing a little bit of rocking because I'm not walking fast. That's not uncommon, but it's not severe. And the gimbal works well, like this one is, I tilt it down some, that can that'll make the rocking not really noticeable. All right, that works. So let's go ahead and just click that again and click on it, and we'll stop that. Let's try, let's take it a little higher. Let's see if we can do a circle me somewhere right out in here. Let's go back across the street. But overall, this is working pretty solid. Don't have any like gigantic complaints so far. Just the fact that the drone is a little bit, you know, not super stable, as you can see there. It moves around a little bit, especially when you first let off the sticks, and then it settles down. And sometimes, like I said, I saw a little bit of tilt in the gimbal. Let's go in here and try the circle, and let's see the radius you can set. Let's set it up a little higher. It's set at 5 meters. That's pretty small. Let's go to like around 15 and slide it, and let's see what it does here. What the heck is it doing? There it goes. That made me nervous for a moment. It really shot off and took off. It's doing it, but and there it goes. I'm going to go up in altitude. I don't want to bump into, bang into someone's house. So that must be 15-meter radius, not diameter, because that's way more than 15 meters, I think. Let's see, there it goes. So it's working, especially once it gets going. And I think it did say radius when we started that in the app. So that's actually going, yeah, but look at that. It looks like it's not as far as it first started, but once it gets settled in, that's pretty good. Just being mindful, when it first takes off, boy, it zipped over there and got itself set up. But once it's settled in, let's tilt it down at me. I don't know if I saw a little gimbal shake there or not. If I did, that'd be the first time that I've seen any. So that's the neighbor's driver we're seeing right there, because I kind of set it right over here. All right, let's go ahead and stop that. That actually seemed to work pretty good. I don't know what else is in here on these modes. Some hand filming, looks like, and some route planning or waypoints. I don't usually mess with that. Excuse me. Especially here where I'm having to fly today. It's just not ideal. Not enough room. Well, we still got half a battery, so I gotta say, pretty decent flight time. I've had some of these where I'm flying these and I just can't even complete the test on one battery because they run out of, especially the really big drones. Let's just kind of rock that, so how Marcus does it in his, where you kind of, you rock the drone some and see how that gimbal works. Let's put the gimbal up a little bit because I'm sort of cut off. Let's just rock that, and we are still in highest rate. And again, I wasn't looking the whole time, so we'll have to see how that works. And let's just try to do like a manual Dronie. But we're just gonna do both sticks backing up and see how it works. I'm not the greatest at this. Some of the drones have a Dronie mode which just work awesome. Let's just go ahead and do it. Kind of going off at an angle there. Okay, we're getting some beeping there, and that probably is telling us we got some low battery. Yeah, it's wanting to come back now. It's maybe wanting to land now. The battery meter says, I don't know. We're not over the helipad where I took off. So anyway, that worked pretty decent. So let's go ahead and bring it down. It may be just giving us a warning that it's within the, under 40% or 30. And what that does is it may be limiting us on how far we can fly. And that's why it brought it back, but it didn't actually land. So, but man, I tell you what, when you're filming a video, that beeping is very annoying. Overall, I mean, you're gonna have some lag in the Wi-Fi. So whenever you adjust the yaw, you may over yaw a bit. But the lag is not like bad like you see in some of the toys. It's about what you expect. You have to go with some better technology like DJI and Autel uses if you're going to get less latency than that. So, yeah. Overall, for this price, I mean, unless I see something goofy in the video that I'm not seeing here, I'd say this probably is a pretty darn good deal. As far as I know, this is the only gimbal drone that Holy Stone makes, and maybe one of the very, very few at this price point. The Eachine EX4, there's a few at this price range, but I think this one looks better than the Eachine EX4. The EX4 camera, had some blue hue to it, and it only shot at 25 frames per second. This is a higher resolution at 30, and I think the gimbal had a little shake. I didn't notice much shake in this. So this might be about the best gimbal drone you can get at this price point. Now, if you want to go up $100 to a MAVIC Mini SE, you're obviously going to get a better drone, better range, and a better gimbal. But if you're just like at $200 and that's all you can afford, or you just want to see if you like a drone, I think this one's probably a pretty solid choice. Not perfect. Let's just go ahead and bring it over here. It's always good when you see it. It kind of, when you're yawing, it tends to sort of like drift, and a lot of them do that. When you're starting out, if you're a beginner, it's always good to put the butt of the drone facing you. That way your orientation is correct and you won't accidentally get your controls reversed. You ease it down, and we'll see if we can just land this manually on a helipad, because with it being so, it's not raised off the ground much, it hits the grass pretty easy. There we go. That's exactly what we want. And it fired the motors down. Let's do a long press and stop recording. And the controller's still gonna beep at us. even though we've landed, which is annoying, but they almost all do that. All right, guys, I think I got the gist of it in, and most of the important features tested there for the Holy Stone HS360. I'm gonna go ahead and power this off as I wrap it up, because the beeping the controller is just gonna drive us mad. That's just super annoying. Again, so many of them do that, and I don't know why they don't stop it beeping once you've landed. All right, guys, that wraps up the review of the Holy Stone HS360. I believe I have a coupon to that. It's like a 5% off or something. I'll include that in the video description, along with a link to Amazon. If you choose to buy this drone or anything from my channel, keep in mind I'm not making a bunch of money. It does help support the channel. Very tiny commission, but you're not paying any more. You're usually paying less, because I usually get coupons from the manufacturer that you won't be able to find if you go anywhere else. And aside from the clippable coupons on Amazon's website. So usually I have both. You clip the coupon, and then you'll have another code that sometimes can be substantial that you won't find anywhere else. So if you're interested in this, check the video description. I'll also try to include a pinned comment with the link too, to make it easier to find. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I really appreciate, at 12,000 subscribers now. I never imagined I could get to that. While you're at it, click that bell. That way, every time I upload new videos, you get notified. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.